All right. Nathan, yo. Nathaniel, sorry. Nathaniel. How's it going, dude? Rando stream. I was just watching the Golden Feather because they were having a great discussion about Ashes. And I figured, you know what? They've been talking for about an hour and a half. I was like, you know what? I'll go live and I'll talk Ashes too. There's a lot of stuff that they were talking about, regardless of like, you know, should Ashes go into the whole esports arena? No. Please, God, do not go into the esports arena. It doesn't mean, and I think Vertec brought up great points. Like there was literally nothing I couldn't agree more with him. I mean, he was making really great points about all of the games, especially MMOs that have tried to go into the esports route, hasn't worked. There's a lot of people that don't care. Like, I don't care about the Race to World First. Now, there are people who do watch that, but that isn't a sanctioned thing by Blizzard. What is sanctioned is like the arena, the MDI, all that stuff. And the viewership on that stuff is just, it's so small. It's so small in the grand scheme of things. So it's like, is it really worth it for Intrepid to even do any of that? I don't think so. Like, I don't think it's worth for them to do any of that stuff. Like, so I don't know. For me, I just think that it's one of those things that if the community wants it, then let it be done by the community. You know, that's kind of my take. Like if people are wanting to create a server community or a server, you know, arena tournament, you know, and let's say some, you know, like Nice Gaming, right? Nice does a lot of PvP events for New World. He loves PvP in New World. If he comes into Ashes and he says like, hey, you know, like we're going to create on our server a tournament, you know, and here's all the brackets, here's all the people who are signed up or whatever. Great. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's awesome. Like, I think that's a great thing for a content creator or a community to do themselves. But the thing is that as soon as Intrepid is involved, officially involved, it just becomes a shit show. That is literally like my point, is that I think it just gets too ridiculous too quickly. Ashes, thank you so much. Ashes of Noir, thank you so much for the follow. Thank you. And again, I just want to say, Vertec, I agreed with so many of your points. So many of them. I was like, I could not agree more. And I just want to say to Ashes of Noir, you were my 200th follow on Twitch. Thank you. It's been quite a journey so far doing this whole Twitch streaming thing, but I love to do it. Yeah, lucky number 200, man. But yeah, like I think, you know, just to reiterate, I think if anything is going to be sanctioned, it should be sanctioned by the players. It should not be officially sanctioned by Intrepid. And that goes with arena, that goes with like boss rushes, like any of that stuff. Because a lot of companies don't handle it poorly. And even though I may trust Intrepid to do certain things, like I just feel like, you know, hey, they could drop the ball when it comes to and then they're gonna be blamed for, you know, whether it's like prize money, whether it was like the ladder, or, you know, a slew of different things, right? There's anytime there's always some kind of a drama, you know, and it could be drama even regarding balance. You know what I mean? I just think that there's a lot of stuff they should just try to stay away from. And, you know, Chibri said it best, you know, it's not going to do them any favors, you know? So why do it? Like, why? Like, if people, you know, or if MMOs had esports and there was like hundreds of thousands of people watching because it's just something that like a lot of the MMO community likes, you know, then we can have an honest conversation about esports. But a lot of modern theme park MMOs are all heavily instance based, right? That's instance dungeons, instance raids, instant PvP battlegrounds, instant arenas. Ashes doesn't really have a lot of instance content. Now, they could do instance content, right? There's like 20% that they have access to, and a lot of the stuff that, you know, they talk about when it comes to their instance is more story driven, to tell more of a story about it. But I just, you know, I don't think it's just worth their time, to be honest. And there being a very non-instanced world. Games just don't need esports to be good. Should be a game first, then people will come. Yeah, Nathaniel, I couldn't agree with you more, man. Like, I think AoC has greater strengths than any esports sanctioned event that Intrepid could host, to be honest with you. Pomona Brawl is, let me see. The problem with player run events is the prizes are going to suck. How do you make an esports thing viable for players to create? I guess content creators might have a reason to run an event, but generally I don't see someone doing it for shits and giggles. So, you had, what was it? OTK in WoW do their Makara tournament. And I thought that was pretty successful, and they did $100,000. Like, as far as total prize money went, that's a lot of cash, you know. But even they had their own little bit of drama, you know, here and there, even with that, you know, player sanctioned event. I just think that if there should be drama, it should be regarding the player community and not Intrepid themselves. Like, that's my thing. Like, I just don't think Intrepid should be involved. I think they should just be like, you know, we appreciate you guys doing the thing. You have our blessing to do the tournament, but we're just not going to be involved. I think about the hardcore Makara, it was community led, but Ashes should do better at curating that sort of thing than what Blizz, even though Blizz did some work on this, which was shocking. Yeah, I mean, again, you know, like they gave it the blessing and stuff like that, but I just think anytime the blame can be put on the developers instead of the players will blame the developers. And it's just how players are. Yeah, I just mentioned that. Let me see. I think they should make a couple of scenic arenas in the open world without any mobs nearby and then just forget about esports. Yeah, like, Goldwood, I completely agree. Like, I think, again, to me, there's better strengths that AoC has, and it isn't esports. Like, there's going to be people that are going to watch content creators solely off of player created drama and intrigue, off of server creation, control of castles, you know, sieging, all of that stuff. Like, that is going to be a way, like, bigger, you know, streaming tool than any esports sanctioned Intrepid thing. Like I said, there's just better strengths that Intrepid has in Ashes of Creation than that. I think an arena should be something the mayor can opt to build. Yeah, I think in military nodes, I think the mayor, I don't know if the arena in a military node is just a basic structure or if it has to be created by the mayor. That's a great question. And so the AoC content binging continues. Of course, Rakta, the party don't stop when it comes to AoC. Come on now. Let me see. Bob G, I enjoy the Guild Wars 2 style tournaments. It's not esports, but it's a way to bring teams together in an organized tourney. See, I'm not a part of the Guild Wars 2 community, nor have I really played Guild Wars. I've tried Guild Wars. I got to level 35. It just wasn't my kind of a game. And again, I've heard so many things about player created things. And for the most part, I think it's a great thing. I think anything where the players are given the tools to do things is way better than a company deciding that, hey, this is what we're going to do. This is the rules or whatever. I mean, and again, like, you know, look at the whole like race to world first in Diablo 4 for, like, you know, getting your name on the official statue of Lilith or whatever. Dude, there were so many issues with that, you know? And so all I'm saying is, like, there's other things that we could do You know, again, I just don't think that MMOs don't really lend themselves to esports, in my opinion. I think Valorant and League, like Vertec was saying, their whole game is an esport. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's what their game is. Ashes, and especially like Ashes specifically, has way bigger fish to fry than doing an esports thing. It's just, and again, I honestly think that once even people start playing Ashes, I even think that the people that advocate for an esport will realize, yeah, like AoC just doesn't, it's not meant for one. Like, they would literally have to change, just like we talk about PvE servers, they would have to make a esport server for certain things or whatever they would want to do for it. You know, like it would just be weird. Like, I don't know. Like, I just don't think, and it's not even worth their time, to be totally honest with you. There's also epic drama events like the WoW funeral that got raided. Let the players enforce or not enforce the player run event. Exactly. And I think in a game like Ashes, where you can just kill people, you know, like every server is a PvP server, just makes it that much more interesting when you see a player run thing, because then people can interfere in it. And now there's like a whole drama around that. You know what I'm trying to say? So it's, again, the thing that's going to make people watch AoC content creators and the thing that's going to make this game popular, like beyond belief, in my opinion, is the drama. Drama gets clicks, guys. Let's just be real here. Drama gets clicks. You're going to see your favorite content creator get screwed over by a whole other guild, and now that guild's going to initiate a guild war with another guild, or with that same guild that screwed them over. It's all about the drama. Like, and I'm here for it. Like, I am here for the drama. Let me see, because they may not care about an esport. Yeah, have supporting the players organically make the esport type event rather than Intrepid themselves forcing it to happen in the first place. Yes, exactly, Nemesis. Couldn't agree more. AoC will have active devs, so there's no issue with them holding a fishing tournament to see who catches the largest fish, or whatever else they want to do. Yeah, like, again, like, there's probably certain events that they could sanction that are more small in scope, but I just think just leave it in the hands of the players. In my opinion, just leave it in the hands of the players. Like, they're already going to have a leaderboard, right, for arena and for other things. So it's like, what's the point of Intrepid doing some official sanctioned esport thing? Like I just don't think, I honestly think that the greater part of the community isn't even going to care. Like, I talk to so many people when I play WoW about the esports and the MDI, and they're like, what's the MDI? Like, WoW players don't even know what the MDI is. Like, and I think the people who are very much in that space think that everybody knows. Like, everybody just knows this because it's the coolest thing ever. And then when they find out that, wow, not a lot of people care about this, it kind of shocks them. So again, like, I just don't think it's like, I just don't think it's worth the time for Intrepid to do it. Like I said, I think they have other things to worry about. Drama War sounds great. Yeah, 100%, dude. I am all about it. Like, you have no idea. I love fishing tournaments. I've changed my mind. Well, it's like I said, like, I think they can do like smaller scoped kind of things, but I think anytime, especially when it involves combat of any kind, whether it's PvE or PvP, this game is not balanced around a small group level. And anytime, and there's a reason why WoW had to get rid of 5v5, because it's too much. And Ashes is being balanced around 8v8. Like, it's just, in an arena setting, that's probably going to be way too much. And I don't think it's going to even attract that many players. Like I said, like, if you're into that already, you think, oh, it's going to be huge. It's not. WoW is one of the biggest MMOs out there. And the viewing size of anytime I see the MDI or even the PvP stuff on Twitch, it's severely low. No one's watching. Like, and Asmongold has talked about this several times. So it's just, you know, it kind of is what it is. I think animal husbandry based esport would be cool, like the Robo Wars combat arena for pets. Dude, actually that does sound pretty cool, not gonna lie. Like, I think I think the whole like animal husbandry thing, you know, and how that all is going to play out. I'm really curious as to like how animal husbandry is going to be as a profession. I think it's gonna be kind of cool, personally. I think WoW's Esports just didn't have any staying power. MDI is a good example. It was very interesting the first year, but it fell off so quickly, and player strategies got weird. Well, yeah, and again, even for me, who's been a WoW player for like 16 years, like I just don't care. Like it's not for me. Like, you know what I mean? And I'll be very open about that. I don't care about it. It's not something that I enjoy or watch or whatever. So, and even when I see other people watching it, like it's just very small numbers. You know, it's like the 1% thing, you know, like people watch like the race to world first, but you're watching like the 1%ers do what they do best. And yes, like that does get numbers, but it's also not sanctioned by Blizzard. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just, I don't know. It just kind of is what it is. Wizzy, what's going on? Hello, hello, hello. I gotta step away from computer or I'm gonna die. It's been online class literally all day. Gonna lurk and maybe return later. Dude, Vertek, thank you so much for the raid, man. Appreciate it. And tell Chiri thank you as well. You guys are awesome. Ooh, a naval race, good idea. And again, like there are going to be so many concepts and ideas for tournaments and different cool things in Ashes that I think people are really gonna dig and enjoy. I just don't think Intrepid should be involved. I just don't. Because then people are going to start screaming as to like this build is so broken, it's unbalanced, you guys need to fix this. Like, and again, when it's just the players doing it, like the players aren't going to bitch. Like you have certain players that might, but for the most part, they know this is just a player sanctioned thing, right? And they'll know the certain things. But again, people will always cry balance. That's just how it is. Like, let me see. We already had dual tournaments run by community in A1. Yeah, and I'm sure it was great success. Like I said, I think there's going to be a lot, and I do mean a lot, of really cool, like whether it's content creator sanctioned or just guild sanctioned tournaments on your server that are going to be really cool to participate in. And again, sometimes you don't even need prize money. Like it could be for in-game gold, it could be for an item, it could be for a multitude of different things. And again, because of how Ash's economy is and stuff like that, heck, it can be very lucrative. It's like, dude, you can win a freehold. Who knows? Like some prizes may be utterly insane. Let me see. I think Intrepid shouldn't spend a bunch of resources. Just give the players some easy tools. And if it blows up somehow, then maybe they could reassess. Yes, Goldwood, like I said, you're preaching the choir, man. Like I think that's exactly what they should do. Like I think there should just be things that they should just keep an eye in the distance, just see what they're doing, and see, is it even worth for us to even put our name on this, or just let it just be them. And I think that's the beauty of Ashes, is there's so much potential for player created content. And that's what I think a lot of other games lack. Like theme park games lack a lot of player created content because there isn't the tools necessary for players to do much in it. You know, it isn't a sandbox for the most part. Everything is very much on wheels, or on rails, sorry. Let me see. I plan to run PvP tournaments on Sunday nights. In UO, we had a PvP tournaments every Sunday night for our guild meeting. Dang. I mean, and again, like I'm looking forward to that. I think that's gonna be awesome. Yeah, server ran tourney sounds so amazing. Yeah, and that's what I mean. Like anytime it's run by the players rally with them. You know? I just think, and again, it's not saying that Intrepid is a bad company or anything like that, but, and I think Blizzard, there's probably a multitude of reasons why the MDI and the PvP arena numbers on Twitch and on YouTube are severely low, right? Because Blizzard just, I don't even think they know what they're doing at this point. I think they're flying off the seat of their pants, and they have been for many, many, many years, which is why I just get so upset and, you know, mad about how they, run their game and stuff like that. Let me see. They're going to have active GMs. It's not extra resources. They have the resources and they want to be involved. And I think again, like if the GMs or if the if your server GMs want to like not host, but maybe like, you know, be there as far as like a referee or as like a, you know, something like that, fine. But that doesn't mean that it was sanctioned by Intrepid, right? Like, again, these GMs are players too at the end of the day. So maybe they just want to, you know, take a part of it as a player. You know, again, there's a lot of different things that Intrepid, you know, should be keeping their eye on. In my opinion, I just don't think esports is one of them. I think esports is literally on page 49, line number 563 on the list of things to worry about for their game. Like it's so far out of the scope of things they need to concentrate on. I would rather them focus on building, you know, building better foundational blocks for their existing systems, right? Like Shibri was talking about certain tavern things, like, you know, if we get the foundational game right at launch and there isn't a tavern, like if tavern owners can't create quests for their tavern, I would rather them concentrate on that than on esports. Like I said, there's a laundry list of things I would rather them put their focus on that I think would better serve them. More like page 4,999. Yeah, maybe I was being too optimistic in my book of better things to keep track of. But I mean, you guys get the drift, right? Like, I mean, man, you guys are on fire tonight, man. You guys are just talking. I love it. Honestly, guys, like I was oh man, what is this? Like, how can I say it? I've been very apathetic lately. I'm going to go on a tangent real quick. Not a long one, I promise. Some of you guys may know, and I know I don't usually talk about my personal life too much, but I was let go from my job last October, and I have been jobless since. I had my baby in November. So things for the past couple of months have been rocky. And I don't like, you know, putting myself as to like the woe is me kind of story. And this is not really why I'm saying this, but like I've just been very much in January feeling very apathetic and feeling like, man, I haven't created content. I haven't done my 1v1. There hasn't just been a lot of stuff that like I haven't felt like I've been on my game, you know, with a lot of stuff, you know. And I got an interview today. Actually, it was a very great interview. I actually have another interview tomorrow with the same company, talking to their HR director. So I'm really crossing my fingers that I get this position, because, you know, my wife's been stressed out because I haven't had a job, because she's been on maternity leave because of the baby. We haven't really had money coming in. So it's been, you know, challenging, but we've been doing it. Like, we're very fiscally responsible and stuff like that. So, you know, but for the most part, like it's been rough, you know. And honestly, like the reason why I'm mentioning this is because when I do these things, like what I'm doing right now and talking to you guys, it's literally been the thing to keep me sane and to keep me from really falling into like a depression or, you know, feeling just very useless and, you know, borderline pathetic. You know, like, I don't know. It's just, I honestly couldn't be more grateful to the AoC community, for how awesome you guys are, and just, you know, talking and, you know, creating this dialogue. We're talking esports and ashes. We're talking PvP caravan stuff. I mean, we're talking all this stuff. And, like I said, it literally is the thing that like keeps me sane to like go live and, you know, try to bring you guys content You know what I mean? I know I've kind of not been doing a great job YouTube wise in giving you guys like actual content to like digest and stuff. But I think it's easier for me to kind of go off the cuff and go live and just talk about like my opinions on like caravan PvP, or talk about risk versus reward, or talk about player reputation and how I think it's not going to matter as much as people think it is. Like it's what keeps me here, because what keeps me sane. So I just want to thank you guys for, you know, for keeping my head on right. You know, I honestly could not be more appreciative. Steven, dude, welcome, man. Hello. And we have Ashes of Relation, one of the best. See, this is so cool, man, because I have one of the best AoC content creators in my stream right now. And that's how awesome this community is, man. It's so awesome. If you need content, you can always push the pools, a hot tub, and BS part. Yeah, you're right. I actually could. I definitely could. Keep grinding, my man. When I am between jobs, I make a point to drop 10 apps a day, no matter what. Yeah, like I think again, like there has been this level of perseverance, you know, that, you know, just talk. And it's so good, man, because like you guys have been really great. Talking to the other AoC content creators, you know, behind the scenes on Discord and stuff like that has been really great too. I mean, it's a lot. It's almost like a support group in a way, right? Like there's nothing like it. You know what I mean? Like there's literally nothing like this kind of a community, because when I made content back in 2012 for World of Warcraft, there was nothing like that. Like back then, the community in WoW was very cutthroat. It was very much a competition of like who can get more subscribers or who has the better content and stuff like that. And at least here in the AoC side, like a lot of the content creators get along very well, right? There isn't a lot of resentment or, you know, like hatred or, you know, bitterness or whatever. I don't know, at least not on my part. I mean, I don't know, like I respect a lot of the content creators in the AoC side. So it's been a good time to be a little Ashes apathetic. Once May hits and Alpha 2 is only a month or two away, things are going to get nuts. Yeah, awesome. Great to see you, Firebren. And you're totally right. Like, I think right now for me, and this is the thing too, is like really what I was saying, because I haven't been able to make content because I just haven't felt like I was literally making my caravan PvP video, and my emotional state while making that video felt so, when I watched it back, I was like, this feels so robotic and lifeless, and just, it didn't feel like me. It didn't feel like Vlad, you know, it didn't have the kind of normal passion and enthusiasm that I put into my videos and stuff. And honestly, it's because I don't like faking my emotional state. Like if I'm feeling bad, or if I'm feeling like, like that's just how I am. Like, you know, I've felt better now. Like I've felt better this past week, and, you know, today, now that I feel like, you know, I'm zoning in on a job now, my wife feels better, you know, the baby's been amazing. Like, oh my God, like I feel so lucky to have her in my life. And to have her be like a non-colicky baby. Like she's such an easy baby to deal with. But yeah, like it's just been, you know, I feel like I want to recreate that video, because I do have some things about PvP caravan stuff, but I'm sure all my viewers kind of know my stance on the whole PvP caravan stuff. I think the whole thing, just not saying is moot at this point, but you see, January is also a depressing time of the year. I always feel better in February. Yeah, January, like I said, and usually like my emotional state is very rock solid, and like there's only very few times that I've actually felt like this, and this was probably the worst time of my life. Like I'm not exaggerating that by any means. Like, you know, but you know, when I was talking to Rive and stuff like that beforehand, and you know, Rive, dude, oh God, I love that dude so much. He's such a great dude. Like I said, I have so much respect for a lot of the AoC content creators, because I literally asked him, I was like, hey, I'm going to go live today. And I wasn't going to do a 1v1, but Rive has so much experience playing, you know, like Arcage and like Lineage, and he's done the caravan stuff. He's been in those servers. I was like, I would love to talk to him. And I was like, I didn't, because he works, like, you know, he works 8 hours a day, you know, like at a job. So, but he wasn't busy. And I said, dude, are you available tonight? And he's like, yeah. I was like, oh my God, awesome. You know, and we're able to like get on and talk Ashes for you guys. And it was, I thought, a great 1v1, man. Like, he always has really great points, and he's a funny dude. So if you guys haven't watched that, or, you know, watch the 1v1 me and Rive lately, go to my YouTube channel and watch it, because it's really freaking good. Let me see. Thanks, Wizzy. I'm glad my dad humor gets to someone. As a teacher, second semester is all depressing because of the amount of limited days off. Yeah, I could see that. I got in a rabbit hole, Burns, a rabbit hole of numbers. It's not my fault. Yeah, I mean, honestly, even Staquino, like, he did a stream where he was reacting to a lot of the videos about the PvP caravans. That was probably one of his best streams, by the way. My boy Q, man, he's been killing it lately. Like, talk about a dedication. That guy is a machine when it comes to pumping out content. Like, he, without fail, will pump out content regardless. And you know, he really wants to make this a career. Like, he's dedicating himself to it. Like, for me, if I can make a career out of this, awesome. But really, like, I just do this because I just enjoy it. Like, I'm not saying Q doesn't enjoy it. I'm just talking about me now. I do it because I enjoy it, but also mainly because I can literally make a video and have the CEO of the game that I am talking about comment on my video. I have developers that watch my videos. I have developers that watch my stream. You guys have seen these developers on when I'm streaming. How nuts is that? Like, could you imagine if Asmongold was literally just talking about WoW back in the day, and Ian Hazakostas was in his stream, talking in his stream and being like, true, dude, true. Like, how nuts would that be? But that, like, never happens. And yet it happens here. And for me, that's the one reason why, like, I became a content creator, because I see this game has so much potential to succeed in the MMO space and actually breathe life back into this dying genre that is the MMO space. And if I can do something to influence, like, that kind of maybe decision making, or even just like new ideas that Intrepid could do, and I can say I had a hand in, like, crafting this MMO, how badass is that? And so for me, that's where I get the majority of my passion, is like the fact that, you know, when I was talking about WoW and all of the cool things that WoW could have done, which they'd never fucking have done, it was just like screaming into a void. Like, what was the point of me talking about all these improvements that WoW could do when they would never listen? They would never listen to what the community was saying anyway. And then an expansion later, they would say, oh guys, we're finally listening. We're going to give you guys all the stuff that, you know, you've been wanting. And then they halfway do it. And then we're back to square one again. Like, I did that rinse and repeat in Legion, BFA, and in Shadowlands, and now in Dragonflight. And I'm just done. Like, I am just done. And this is why I'm an AoC content creator, because these developers and Steven, for the most part, care. They absolutely care about your opinions. Steven, I would not doubt, every day goes to Reddit, goes on the AoC Reddit, and reads probably... What the heck? Venothrian? Is that how you say it? Dude, thank you so much for the subs, man. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Wow. Oh, Jesus Christ, that scared the shit out of me. Oh my God. Dude, thank you, thank you, thank you for the subs, man. That's awesome. I don't know. There's just a lot of stuff that people, I think, you know, maybe it's because a lot of people get kind of jaded, or it's kind of non-impactful to them at this point, but it's still very much shocks me, that I can make a meme video and Steven will comment on it, you know? And Steven, and again, like, I'm not a big content creator, like, by any means, but I consider myself known throughout the Ashes circles. Like, I think most people, I wouldn't say all people, but I mean, I would say there's people that know Vlad is gaming, right? And, you know, for the fact that, you know, I have, you know, Corey, you know, Concordian Slurp, I'm sure that's not how you pronounce it, but I just, that's how I say it. Our boy Corey comes in and he, you know, comes into my chat and he talks to us and he gives us like the lowdown on like the profession system, because that's where his expertise is in Ashes and the team that he's on. It's just so cool to me. Like, it still blows me away. And I think a lot of that community is desensitized to like, oh, it's just Steven talking, or it's just, you know, this developer in here. But then you go to some other community, you go to some other MMO, and yeah, go tell me when a developer is in their stream. Go tell me when the CEO of that company is commenting on their YouTube videos, because they're not. Like, they're just not. Vintharian, an OG AoC fan. Oh, okay. Thank you, Izzy, for the breakdown. I butcher names. I apologize. So don't come after me too hard. Oh man. But yeah, I don't know. Let's change the subject a little bit. Shall we? I was gonna say, when it comes to the whole player reputation, I did want to talk about this because this was something I talked about to Nice and Is There No One Else? And I just want to mention that the whole player reputation, it is going to matter in Ashes, like 100%. But when you're talking about a 40-man raid team that is comprised of 6 different guilds and like 2 guildless people, like, you're not going to literally like keep track of all of those people. Right? If there's, let's say, 3 groups of 40, like, player reputation is really going to come down to guild reputation at the end of the day. I think most people, if they're defending a caravan, are going to look at the guild tag more so than the actual player tag most of the time. I think when it comes to certain activities, if you start noticing a certain player come up more and more and more and more often, that's when the player reputation is going to start mattering. Like, if you're just a dick to everybody on your server and you start, you know, that is kind of your shtick, then it's literally going to matter, because then most people are just going to know you as the dick of this server, and then you're going to be ousted, right? But if you're doing a bunch of, like, you know, good deeds, neutral deeds, bad deeds, good deeds, like, if someone said, oh, well, he attacked my caravan one time, it's like, well, you know, okay, but he helped defend my caravan and he helped a couple of my other buddies do a quest. Like, so is this person really a bad person? You know? Wizzy, thank you so much for the gifted sub. Thank you. Basically, guild by association, and every action a member of a guild, whether sanctioned or not, then every victim will assume that it is sanctioned by your guild. Yeah, and again, I think the real player reputation is going to be more guild reputation at the end of the day. And I think it's going to be kind of obfuscated by, like, you know, the guild you're in and how you conduct your guild business and how you as a guild go about that said business, you know? But it's going to take a lot for you as a player to start recognizing repeated names, like, as a bad thing. Like, oh, when I see this player, like, he's a bad player in our server, or he's a good player in our server, right? Like, and that's the one thing I was going to ask you guys. How do you guys feel about a karma system? Like, you know, like a SWOTOR, you know, Jedi, Sith kind of a bar. But how would that even be done in a game like Ashes of Creation? Like, for every time that you go on an attack, onto attack, you're gonna get bad boy points. But why? Like, sometimes attacking a caravan could be good because maybe the guild that you're attacking is actually in a guild war with you, and that's what you're supposed to do, right? Like, I think to myself, like, I would love there to be almost like a reputation sort of bar, and for every good boy point thing that, you know, you get good boy points, so then you can kind of see like, oh, this person's a more good natured person compared to this other person who's more bad natured, you know. But it's hard to do that in a game like Ashes because there's so many gray lines, right? There's so much stuff that is in between the lines as well. And so having like an actual player reputation bar that can kind of fluctuate to good and evil, like, I would love it. I just don't know how you would properly create it in a game like Ashes of Creation. So I don't know. How do you guys feel about that? Like, just curious. Like, do you guys like the idea of like a karma bar or something like that? It indicates like what kind of a player you are. I also think that rep should degrade over time and prevent you from being a WoW Andy and getting max rep with all nodes. So reputation degrades like over time, and so you having to pledge your kind of exalted reputation to a node that you frequent more often compared to other nodes that you don't frequent as often. That's an interesting concept. I mean, do you don't think that's a little bit hardcore, like in that sense? Let me see. Not karma wouldn't fit, I don't think. There's too many justified reasons for combat. Player or people. People don't like to hear it, but there is times where going red is justified. Yeah, and that's what I mean. Like, there's like, I like the idea of it, but even when I try to implement it, like, it's hard for me to implement it because of in a game and the nature of Ashes, defending could be bad, attacking could be good in certain circumstances, right? So I don't know, maybe it's just one of those pie in the sky things that I think of that, you know, again, maybe it should just be the, you know, sanctioned by the players at the end of the day. You just remember names when you see them, and people write that shit down in Discord. Yeah, and again, like, but again, you write a name down in Discord, what does that do? Okay, like, this person did one bad thing to you. Like, again, like, it's not going to sully that player's reputation, like, on the server. Like, you may not like that player because it, you know, maybe he killed you and took your stuff one time. But I just think if you start shouting to other people that this person's bad because he killed me, like, other people could have a completely different experience with that same player, you know? So that's what I mean when it comes to player reputation. It's just, people need to understand that, you know, it has to be like an exacerbated behavior towards all parties. And I think in a game like Ashes of Creation, that would be a very dumb thing to do. And it would be more smart to kind of choose your battles, right? Because I know for myself, like, I'm going to attack players. It doesn't mean that I have any malice or hatred or on them or whatever. It's just, you know, it kind of is what it is. But I don't know. That's the little spiel that I wanted to take on player reputation, because I just see all these people that think it matters so much. It matters so much. And it's like, I mean, it matters, but I think guild reputation matters way more, like, to a way higher degree personally than your actual, you know, individual player tag. Again, just my take. I think the highwayman system could carry small penalties as well, like small penalties to legitimate transactions at nearby node NPCs. Oh, interesting. I hoped I would win, of course. I even had a secret message in my 3 Valentines and my heart candy messages. Oh, let me see. Congrats, as John McClane told Sergeant Al Powell. Welcome to the party, pal. The sheer golly, you asking me to pronounce these names? Are you serious? Was a mage who needed to roll and stole the Hand of Justice melee attack trinket 4 different times from warrior/melee. His name was known to absolutely everyone. And again, like, certain actions will be justified by the server, but in a game like Ashes, stuff like that may actually feel a little commonplace. Like, I don't know. Like, it's hard to say, Because in a game like WoW, where you can't just kill people when you want, when something like that happens and people gets ninja looted, that's going to go around the server pretty quickly. But in Ashes, with a lot of other underhanded stuff all going on at the same time too, it may not as much, is all I'm saying. As a Pyrite elf, I feel it's not overboard to attack all dwarves on sight. Thoughts? Well, I don't know. I think for myself, like I've always planned on being an actual hero kind of character. Like I don't know. I've always kind of wanted to be that person when I see someone getting attacked to go and help them, you know? But it just depends. Like I sometimes that might even be the bad call. Like what if the person that's being attacked was only defending themselves because that other person attacked first? You know what I mean? Like it's hard to make these kind of calls in Ashes because, again, the game is so unpredictable in that regard. Like you could have just showed up at the wrong time and thought that this person was the bad guy, when in actuality, the person he was attacking was the bad guy and he was actually the good guy. So that's the whole fun part of Ashes, I think. It's just, you know, every side has, you know, there's always two sides of a story, right? Let me see. It's basically both nodes and guild rep, where if a single person, a group, and a guild is messing with the progression of either association, then they will be remembered. Yes. Nemesis, 100% agree. Like, and again, I think it's going to be the bigger organizations that are going to start having more renown, right? So when you see, let's say there's a guild called Nemesis, right? There's the Nemesis guild out there, and that guild is known for being dickwads. No offense, Nemesis. No offense. But let's just say they're known to be bad actors in Ashes. Then whenever you see someone from the Nemesis guild, like, people are going to either be scared or they're just going to attack them, because it's like, oh, that guild is known to be like shitty people. Let's attack them because we want you out of our server. You know, we poo on you, you know, kind of thing. So FY Nemesis is suspect. Yes, I know Nemesis is suspect. I'm just saying, like, I'm making up a fake guild. I'm not trying to do real guild names here. Completely hypothetical example. Absolutely. It's completely hypothetical and unrealistic. Damn, I didn't know that was my rotation, but my Nemesis is in the first place. Well, hey, I mean, that's very true. I mean, that's why I brought the name Nemesis, because it's just, hey, it's a very fitting name for the example, is all I'm saying. Yeah, he is sus. Oh my God. But yeah, like, it's just one of those things where I think, and again, I've kind of changed my tune with the whole like caravan system. Like, I kind of don't want them to make any kind of big sweeping changes with the system. Like, I really want them to, like, what we saw in January, I want to experience that same exact system in Alpha 2. Because, and again, I think even in Alpha 2, and this is what I said when I was talking to Rive, I think people are going to get very exacerbated responses and feelings about the caravan system, because at the start of Alpha 2, we're going to be very centralized into like a couple of zones. And yes, those couple of zones are huge. They're massive. But you're also going to have 8,000 to 10,000 people in just those like 4 areas. So when you see a caravan run, you're going to have way more people potentially attacking, for one, because it's not their actual player characters, right? The reputation on an Alpha 2 server isn't going to matter as much as on the live servers. So you're going to have an unrealistic example of how attacking a caravan is actually going to be. So people are going to want to be more heavy-handed in, like, you know, having the attackers get all these negative penalties and stuff like that. When in actuality, you may not even need them, right? Because once the live game occurs, you could have a whole different aspect of the system. You know what I'm trying to say? So, I don't know. I just think that it's one of those things that I think people need to be a little bit more open-minded about this particular system, and how, again, yes, defenders have way more to risk, and I do agree with that. There is, I think, a very healthy balance of risk versus reward when it comes to defenders. I think attackers have way more reward than they do risk. However, like, at the end of the day, like, it's going to be so lucrative for a defender to make a caravan run. It is. Like, it's just going to be. And the numbers will probably reflect that. And even if the numbers don't reflect that in the Alpha 2, they will during the live launch. Like, as Intrepid said, and even Steven said, numbers is the easiest thing to balance because it's just literally flipping a numerical switch at that point. We see Vladis is so trustworthy that a simple "trust me, bro" convinced us he's not a spy. Yes, dude. You don't trust me, Nemesis? Really? How dare you, sir? How dare you? I'm gonna Greta Thunberg you and be like, how dare you? I hadn't even noticed that this was his note. Dude, did you see that note that Psycho left? Oh my god. I am not a spy. I'm not, I promise. You'll never know. You'll never know. Guys, you can trust me. It's okay. Oh my god. I've been a Axiom plant and suspect for like the longest time, and it's been so tiring, like having to like talk to them and act like I'm friends with them and stuff like that. It's just like, God, just can't wait till the actual live game starts so I can just like, I'm free. Let me tell Axiom all the stuff I learned at Suspect this whole time. Oh god. But man, I don't know. I honestly feel spies in guilds, dude, that's going to be such great content. Like, as a content creator, amazing content. Like, it's just gonna be so good. Like, do you guys remember that WoW video of the guy that made it was like in the hardcore WoW scene where he literally infiltrated a guild for a year and then wiped all of them out in a raid? Yeah, Tiny Violin. Thank you, Goldwood. Dude, that video blew up. Like, literally, man, that video was insane. Asmongold interviewed. Like, it was a whole ass thing. And I am telling you right now, that is the tip of the iceberg, or tip of the AoC iceberg when it comes to drama. Just the tip. There is going to be so much stuff of like backstabbing, spies, you know, double crossing, triple agents. Like, it's going to be so nuts. Like, people are going to get deep with this game. Like, I can tell you this right now. Like, it's going to be so good. And it's going to be so much fun. Because, again, there's not a lot of games, especially MMOs, that even promote this kind of player behavior. Like, it's going to literally emerge out of the systems that Steven and Intrepid have created out of AoC. Like, it's going to be, oh God, it's going to be so fun. Like, I can't freaking wait. 6 months to go before A2, and being a spy is going to have a lot of power and responsibilities. No random player is going to be a spy, and seeing an example of it on EVE Online. Yeah, it's going to be awesome and painful if I am a victim of it. Yeah, it is. But I mean, I think the thing of what keeps MMOs stale, at least in my opinion, is just the mundane BS bullshit patch cycle that you know and expect from every single MMO game. It's the same shit. Like, I literally think of prison food more fondly than I do of an upcoming patch in World of fucking Warcraft. Like, it's so sickening to me at this point, because I know exactly what to expect. A new dungeon, a new raid, you know, a new land that is completely segregated from everything else that I'm going to be on for about 4 months. And then I forget about all that and move on to the next. It's just, yeah, it's like Total Recall. It's like it's like Groundhog's Day. Like, I'm in this same game loop, spinning my wheels for 16 years. And I just feel like AoC is going to be a game that's going to have such a completely different kind of patch cycle and just different content. And I've told many content creators this. I said, you know, comparatively to a lot of other MMOs, AoC has the potential to where players will literally be like, guys, like, we're not even ready for the new patch. Like, we still have content we haven't even gone through, and you guys are about to put out a brand new patch with more content. Like, I feel like there's going to be certain aspects of Ashes that's probably going to feel very overwhelming. Like, I don't know why, I just have this feeling that it's just going to feel very overwhelming. Like, and if they can actually keep a pretty decent cadence of patch cycles in AoC, like, it's I don't know, man. I think Ashes could be one of those games where you could be a year and a half in and you still on your server haven't unlocked all the nodes. Like, and that's the base content. Like, you might be 3 years in and still have not unlocked all the nodes to Tier 6 at one point. Like, you haven't even experienced a dungeon that another server has experienced for like 2 years because that server or that particular node just hadn't leveled because y'all took a completely different you know, leveling experience for your nodes than this other server did. So, and again, I don't know how, I've thought about this many different ways. Like, I don't know how players are going to feel about that. Like, I think in certain ways, players might get upset, but I think in other ways, players will see it as like, well, damn, like, it's still content we haven't unlocked. And that'll either have like you like on your server in your guild talk to the other guilds on that server and come to like a treaty or a consensus to be like, guys, if we want to experience this dungeon, we have to work together to do this. And that right there is player created content. That right there, you went into Discords, you had conversations. No other game would do that. Like in WoW, the new dungeon is available day one of the new patch. It's available to everybody. Like, there's no need to get into servers and try to unlock shit. It's just, it is what it is. But in Ashes, it doesn't just take one guild. It'll take multiple guilds. It'll take a whole army to like do a major change to that server. And if you guys as a server were able to actually pull it off, that in itself is satisfying. And now your server gets to experience this dungeon or this raid or this world boss because you guys work together. Like, I just think content in Ashes is going to feel way more appreciated by the player base than in any other MMO. And I don't know if players have really gotten around to understanding that. Like, that's going to be so huge. There's a certain, guys, you guys are talking so much. I'm so sorry if I'm not keeping up with you guys. Let me see. There's a reason certain content will be hard to unlock and that'll feel monumental to achieve rather than the next content cycle patch for it and run them in less than a week. Exactly. Like, Nemesis, you're so right. Let me see. The greatest thing that people won't know how they unlock something is when a diverse ways to achieve something. Well, and again, there might be multiple ways to achieve a certain outcome. You know, maybe this server did it this way, but maybe you guys did another way and still unlock the same amount of content. I think that's going to be interesting to see, is there only one way to do it, or are there multiple ways to do certain bits of content? And again, I think with their world event system, like in certain events just triggering, like, I don't know, like, could you imagine, like, let's just say as like a thought experiment that, because we know there's going to be active GMs on these servers. Let's say the GMs have like almost an authority to spawn 4 different kind of events for their server. And it is at their discretion to launch this event whenever they want. Like, you know, Asmongold talks about the whole volcano, right? So let's just say, as an example, that there is a dragon, like a huge ass dragon, that the volcano can erupt, and that is spawned and triggered by the active GM on the server. It's not because of anything that the players did. It's just something that, hey, you know what? I'm going to trigger this event right now and it's going to be crazy and people are going to freak the fuck out. And this dragon just spawns out of nowhere and the whole sky just turns orange with like fire. And you just see this big ass dragon, like Deathwing style, just come out and just start like breathing fire on like certain areas. And you're just waiting for this dragon to land somewhere. Like, how badass is that? Like, if the GMs had like that kind of an authority, that would be badass, in my opinion. Because I've always pictured AoC to be almost like an MMO version of Dungeons and Dragons. And it's up to the dungeon master's discretion to just initiate an event, like sometimes out of nowhere. You know? And I don't know, like to me, I think those kinds of things, it's like whenever they were testing Classic WoW, like before, and there was like GMs that spawned like Ragnaros and Festergut and stuff like that, like, and they were just like had all these like raid bosses like in the leveling zones and stuff like that. I always thought that was just so badass, you know. Let me see. It's straight up based on a custom Pathfinder campaign. Yeah, during a 500 versus 500 city siege would be crazy. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, just imagine like this, like the GM on your server just initiating some kind of a crazy ass event because they wanted to, you know. And again, it's not like they can spawn this event every day, right? Like there has to be certain kind of rules and parameters or whatever, but you know, it's up to the discretion of the GM on that server to initiate it if they wanted to, you know. Like I just think, again, like being able to experience something like that when you know that you're the only server experiencing that and no other server is, feels very cool, you know. And again, I think that's going to be the biggest attraction on creating multiple tunes on other servers, right? Where it's like, oh my god, like this crazy event spawned on our server, and it's like, oh my god, what server is it? And then you can just make it like a level 1 and like try to just see what the event is at a level 1 level and just like go there and just see it, like, oh my god, this is so crazy and stuff, right? Like, I just think stuff like that is just so important because it makes you feel alive in the community. It makes the game feel alive. Games feel so systematic and so robotic, lifeless. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and that's why I'm just so excited for Ashes, because it just feels like there could be so many organic moments that feels like, wow, like I remember that time when that dragon spawned, or when the volcano erupted and that dragon came out of nowhere. Or I remember that time when this huge like Leviathan came out of the water and like, you know, started wreaking havoc on the coast, you know, just like stuff like that. Like, I think stuff like that is just so important to have in a game. And it's actually quite nuts that what I am saying right now doesn't sound far-fetched in Ashes. You know, in a game like World of Warcraft, what I'm saying sounds completely like that's never going to happen. That's a pipe dream. You know, you'd be lucky wishing for Blizzard to actually be a good company. And you'd probably be right. But again, in a game like Ashes, or it, like, you know, from Intrepid, that idea doesn't sound far-fetched literally at all. Like, Steven could be like, I like that. Let's do it. You know what I mean? And then that's it. That's the end of that. Like, it's done. Let me see, but in the wilderness and as like a special event would be awesome. Yeah, I mean, there's but in the wilderness and like, let me say, oh, it's like basically a community-wide D&D or Pathfinder campaign, which is so awesome. Yeah, like, and that's the thing, like Ashes is an MMO D&D campaign that we, the players, are taking part in. Like, and I think that's probably the best way to describe Ashes, like to a layman. We see most MMOs feel predictable and curated in the worst way. It's going to be so refreshing to log in, and each day has the potential to be completely surprise you. And that's the thing. It's like, the reason why I think Classic WoW is still successful today is because there was a sense of mysticism that Classic WoW had, and that sense of discovery back in 2004 and 5. And again, as you know, and again, I'm a WoW Andy, right? So I know probably games like Arcade or Lineage probably had these same exact things too. And again, and I think a lot of the older MMOs did. It's just any MMO past 2010, all those MMOs just feel so systematic and programmed, and like everybody's gonna experience this. This is just, it is what it is. Like, you know, like it's just the same stuff. Like, I don't know. It's just, I don't know. Like, again, this is why I'm an AoC content creator, because I'm done with that. Like, I want the new, and Ashes is definitely going to bring the new. Like, I'll tell you that right now. Yeah, they described story arcs as a pre-packaged tabletop campaign. Yeah, and I'm actually really excited for the story chapter event, or the story arc event, because, or system, I should say, because I've always hated, like, you go to classic World of Warcraft, right? And you go to the crossroads, and there's like 17 quests that are literally all around you. Like, I always thought it'd be really cool if, like, in AoC, you go to a new area and it's just a chapter. Like, you get there and you now have a chapter, and within that chapter or that arc, there's all these different quests that are associated with the arc. So you don't have to accept like 17 individual quests. The arc already did that for you. And now you could just do like certain bonus objectives in the arc, or do, you know, just go down the line and do all of the stuff within the arc. I think that's a way cleaner and better way to tell a story than having all of these fragmented parts that you have to go and individually accept. Like, it's just, I don't know. I think there's a better way to do it. The day you log in and your node is destroyed, random meteor shower, that would suck, but it would be epic. Dude, imagine being in that meteor shower. Imagine being in the node while the meteor shower is happening, and you're just literally there like, what the fuck is happening? Like, what is going on? Like, that would be really freaking cool. Like, if you just like got your, or like, let's say there was a node at level 4 and it was like halfway to go into level 5, and then a meteor shower happened, and then it de-leveled, like, as the node took so much damage that it de-leveled to 3. Like, could you imagine something like that happening? Like that, I mean, and again, it would suck, and maybe it was just bad RNG, but I think stuff like that, like, is, and again, in a game like AoC, where you understand that there's a lot of risk reward, there's a lot of crazy things that could potentially happen within the world, that could shape the world, that could change the world, like, and again, there could be a really good event that occurred because of it, and then the kind of like the kiss curse kind of mechanic, right? So there was a really good thing that happened, but then the bad part was the meteor shower that happened. That'll be the day I get my freehold. That would be my oh god, dude. And then you have the whole freehold discussion that people still are having. That literally sounds like Guild Wars 2, and my brain just automatically turns off just accepting the same quest in each area of it. Yeah, I know. That's why I'm really excited for the story arcs, because I feel like story arcs are going to be the thing that all MMOs should do now. Is you go into an area and it's just an arc, and there's like 17 objectives within that arc, rather than you having to accept 17 individual quests. If that makes any sense. Again, there's a probably a better way to do it, and I really do feel like Ashes could actually, you know, do something like that. Why do I have air siren when I just want to watch the stream? FFS. Oh, you mean in your city? That usually means that there's like a natural disaster, or it could be like a hurricane, it could be a tornado. Like, every city is different with those air horns. I'm sorry about that. Guild Wars True tried it, and it really didn't feel all that great, to be honest. You seen, so Guild Wars 2 did a story arc kind of system, and it didn't feel good. Cruise missile launch from Russian strategic bombers. Holy crap. That's nuts, dude. I'm so sorry. Well, I'm praying for your safety. Hope everything's okay. Yeah, sorry you don't have to go through that shit. Wow. I'm sorry, I just kind of like it's crazy. We see Jesus Christ, Russia can't take the L once and for all, can't they? Well, yeah, they're usually not a country to back down. But yeah, I wanted to read this. I saw this right here, and I kind of wanted to read this real quick. Let me go right here. It's in the Reddit. Attackers v defenders is fine for the most part. Not all things need to be balanced perfectly equal with one another. We all need to remember that this game is all about risk versus reward and how that will inherently create imbalances per the risk part. Claiming that victory over such unbalanced situations is where the increase in the reward comes in. If both sides were always equal, then the reward should never change no matter what, which makes going increased distances for increased profit pointless. The only real issue I find with the current system is the announcement of caravan launches. Announcing to everybody in a region, that just makes it feel awful to even attempt to run a caravan unless you have a decent group with you. In turn, this can cause the economics to slow, as to no one wants or can launch one due to an increase in a bunch of randoms just hunting you down when they see the message. I do think that attackers, if not by luck, should have a proactive in hunting of caravans. To my knowledge, is there a region like a region-wide of like announcement that says someone initiated, like someone started a caravan run in Marilith? Because to my knowledge, I didn't think that was the case. Area zone, I think it's relatively close. Really? Why? Like, why? Like that. Like, would you want to participate in this event? Sort of pop up, from what I understand. I honestly don't think defending a caravan should work that way. Me personally. I personally think that if you are nearby a moving caravan, just like an attacker, that's how it should be notified to you. Like, I don't think because, like, let's say if I'm in Miraleth, like at the blacksmithing trainer, or, you know, doing something like talking to somebody or whatever, or I'm just idle, I don't think I should get a notification because someone launched a caravan in Marileth, you know, and saying, hey, you know, would you like to be a defender or whatever? Like, if I'm not near the caravan, why should I get a pop-up? You know what I mean? I think now, if that pop-up could then be controlled by the initiator of the caravan, like the caravan raid leader. Let's say the caravan raid leader, as an example, is in Marileth. They only have 10 players, but they have precious cargo. None of their other guild members are online right now. They need defenders. They could either, one, say on the trade chat, hey, would anybody like to help defend my caravan? That also is basically an area-wide notification saying, oh, well, does that mean someone's going to be, you know, launching a caravan in Marilith? Or they can just privately reach out to certain people and be like, hey, I'm going to run a caravan. Would you like to come? And that even still, like, if they belong to a certain guild that they're not really aligned with, or maybe that guild has something in for them, that might be a bad play too. That's why, at least in my opinion, defending a caravan should just be where if you're in the area, then you can choose to attack or defend. Because again, this is why it's so important for you to be in a guild, and why guilds are going to be very important in Ashes of Creation, because you are going to be more reliant on your guild than you are total strangers or people that are not in your guild, right? I think there's going to be more, not resistance, but there's just going to be more reasons why you're going to want to do activities with your guild more so than just completely people outside of your guild, is what I'm saying. I could see protection rackets to be a thing in Ashes. Oh yeah, I can too, 100%. Let me see. You could announce that you need defenders in a certain area, then go somewhere else entirely, using the announcement as a tool of misdirection. Potentially, you could. I just don't think you need the announcement, period. Like, I don't. I think you and your guild should be responsible for making up the defenders initially. I think if people are like going along the caravan route, right, and the people are like passers-by, could choose to either help you defend or attack. You know, it's up to them. Let me see. Solo players will be forced to join a guild or they will quit. Well, people that choose to be solo players only, like if that's, let's say you have a solo player and they're like, I don't want to join a guild. I honestly feel, and this is just my honest to God opinion, I don't think that player will even last in a game like Ashes. Now, I do think there will be content that solo player can do by themselves, but I think it will wear thin eventually. Because there's going to be things they are going to be reliant for other players on. They just are. Like, I don't know what else to say. Like, it's just, I hope they stick around, but for the most part, they're going to need to be in a guild. And I think in a game like a lot of theme park games where, you know, there's a lot of like tools where you can find groups of people to do dungeons or raids with and stuff like that. So there just really isn't a point to be in a guild, because I can find a group no problem without your guild. Ashes isn't going to really work that way. And I think once those solo players understand that this is a different dynamic of a game than World of Warcraft or Final Fantasy 14 or Guild Wars 2, I think they will be more open to being in a guild. Does that make sense? A node community might be more appealing to solo players because it's less commitment. Yes, 100%. Like, they're going to be in some kind of a community, whether they like it or not, is my thing. Let me see. I don't understand the mindset of wanting to play an MMO and just being completely antisocial. It's weird in my opinion. So I think this is sort of the kind of culture that's been cultivated over time within the MMO community. I think there are a lot of people that are very inward, very, you know, in their room by themselves, very antisocial natured people, because a lot of antisocial playered people like to be around people, but they don't like to interact with them. It's really weird. You have people that like to be around a hustling and bustling community, but they don't want anyone to interact with them, and they don't want to interact with anyone else. Like, it's just, they don't want to be in a dying server. Like, that's my thing. Like, it's they don't want to be in a server that's dead or doesn't have anybody, because then they can't get anything of their gameplay done, you know? So it is a very weird dynamic for people to understand and stuff, but, you know, to me, I just think it is what it is at that point. Ashes will be social back to MMOs. Yeah, I think I've always preached this. I think Ashes will literally be the thing to encourage grouping up. I think Flanker, dude, thank you so much for the follow, man. Thank you. Welcome to the Horde. I've always said this. Like, I think just like classic World of Warcraft, I've seen so many people join guilds in classic WoW. I've seen so many people organically group up with people doing like the Hillsbrad quests, doing, you know, escort quests, grouping up to, like, you know, sleep in the sleeping bag thing, you know, like, there's just something about the older MMO style of gameplay that promotes community and player interaction more so than any of the retail versions of any of the previous, you know, top 5, you know, MMOs, like retail World of Warcraft, Final Fantasy 14, Guild Wars 2, ESO, Black Desert Online. Like, all those kinds of games just don't really facilitate the kind of player community that a lot of the older games do. my uncle plays solo in MMOs. He played a super high level character grinding on lower level areas and never really talked to others in Ragnarok when we played at the same time. Yeah, and again, like I do think that players will be able to do things solo in Ashes of Creation. I think honestly, I think there will be a group of solo players that will actually like Ashes of Creation. But will it be the norm? Probably not. I do think certain solo players will have to conform to have a more group-based mentality. And let me give you some good news. A lot of solo players that I know in retail aren't solo players in Classic WoW. When they have played Classic WoW, they do not have that solo mindset. So I just think, and this is what I've always said, if you build it, they will come. And Ashes is building a game that is very much a group-centered kind of game. And it's going to have a lot of systems that I think are going to be very deep and very satisfying to have. And there hasn't been a game that actually went this deep with a player, player created kind of content and just like being able to group up effectively and efficiently. So I do think that Ashes will succeed in that. And I do think there will be a lot of players that wouldn't mind switching their mindset from being a solo player to being a more group-based player, because the game incentivizes it. Like literally, it incentivizes it. There's actually going to be group XP bonuses for being in a group compared to playing solo. Let me see the antisocial social club for these people. You see, I'm sure that a good invested solo player in AoC will have lots of fun as well. Yeah, I totally agree. I do think, honestly, I think they could have more fun playing solo in Ashes than they will in retail WoW. I think they'll have more fun playing solo in Ashes compared to like ESO. Again, just my opinion. I'm not saying that it's a fact or whatever. I just think that that's what it's going to be. Let me see. Game just needs to launch so that people won't have time to whine on forums. Well, people are going to whine on the forums regardless. That's just what it is. Like, I'm sorry to break it to you, but people are really, really, really good at complaining. That's just how players are. Introverts unite separately. Oh god. Let me see. I'm an introvert by nature, but I'm excited for AoC for the community aspect where you build up a node and defend it like your life depends on it, literally. So, I'm in the guild Axiom, and I've seen a lot of players that are solo-minded players, but are in, my guild in Axiom, in the AoC Discord in Axiom, talk to other Axiom members and have a very group-based mentality. And the game, without the game even being out, already promotes it. It already promotes a hive mind kind of thinking, and goddamn, that scared the shit out of me. Dude, thank you for the sub, man. Much appreciated. Thank you. Man, that scared the shit out of me. Did you guys hear that? I probably need to lower that message. But thank you for the sub. Thank you. It's basically most introverts are introverted for the real world, but in the game we want to interact with others, even if it's just for small talk. Yeah, 100%. And again, I've seen this in Season of Discovery. Like, I was in Hillsbrad, and we were doing the Hillsbrad quests, and there's just people that are like, "Hey, are you doing the Hillsbrad quest?" I was like, "That's what I was trying to do by myself." And I'm like, "Yeah, we can, you can join my party." By the time I knew, we had 5 people, and we did all the quests in that area. And then it was like, "Hey, thank you." It's like, "Hey, can you like add me to your friends list?" Like, and it all happened naturally, and that's what happened back in 2006 too. You know what I mean? Like, it's if the game promotes it and facilitates it, people will do it. It's what MMOs were all about, and this is why the genre in the early 2000s. And why Classic WoW was so successful, because you had games like Ultima Online, EverQuest, City of Heroes, like all of these games like facilitated this group hive mind mindset, and it was lost. Like, and I think WoW over time lost its own identity. I really do. And it just started to not facilitate, but it started to cater more and more out of the group player mindset into the solo player mindset. And that's when, in around 2010, it was like about end of Wrath of the Lich King going into Cataclysm. You started seeing all these WoW clones, but it wasn't the WoW clone of 2004. It was the WoW clone of 2010. And this is why you have like SWTOR and, Rift and, WildStar, all of these games that were very much like solo player kind of games, and I don't know, man. I just think that they got the wrong model. Let me see. What do you think about static, consistent parties? I think they will be OP in AoC. Oh yeah, like I said, you're gonna want to be in a guild because you're gonna want the same people like running with you. Like that. And again, you want to maybe like pinch hit and join a different group for this reason, that reason, or the third. But I think it's gonna be very much where you're gonna want a consistent group of people to like trade gear with, to like improve stuff with, to experience content with. Like I really do think that's gonna be the way to play AoC, 100%. Let me see. I got to be honest about something. I played WoW for an hour and then stopped. That was like in 2005. And again, World of Warcraft, even classic, isn't for everybody. But all I'm saying is, in my experience, because again, I'm a WoW Andy, like I see WoW, especially classic WoW, let me be very clear, and it being very much a game where natural player interaction happens. Like that doesn't happen in retail WoW. And that doesn't happen in a lot of other, games. Like it just doesn't happen. And this is why I think a lot of the older, like, MMOs are having resurgence, because you have all of the solo players playing retail of like, ESO, New World, whatever. And then you have a lot of the people that want that kind of group sentiment feeling back playing older MMOs. It could be Lord of the Rings. It could be Dark Age of Camelot. It could be, hell, was it City of Heroes? Yeah, City of Heroes and Villains is literally back. Like they literally brought back sanctioned City of Hero and Villain servers that you can go and play on right now. An 8-man static will be interesting as opposed to a 5-man. I think 8-player groups are going to be very interesting. Like again, coming from WoW where it's been 5, it's going to feel, I think, more epic. And honestly, like the one thing they have to really do is make the world a bit more challenging than what it has been. Like every time when we see stuff in AoC, and again, Steven's always talked about that Ashes is going to be a little bit harder than the average MMO. I have yet to see that be backed up yet. And again, this is all testing. I understand that they want to have certain things to show off, and and again, Steven says, many times that he goes, us dying over and over on a stream isn't going to be really good for you guys watching. So, and again, all that stuff can be tuned, but I really can't wait to see how hard outside world content is going to be in Ashes. I'm also a long-term WoW player. Until recently, I stopped because I grew tired of the same features on repeat, aka Mythic Plus, BGs, raids, IN sub till War Within, but it'll probably be the same BS till AoC. Yeah, Dan, I don't play retail at all. I literally started playing Season Discovery only because some friends of mine were playing, and I was like, I need to play a game with some friends. like I said earlier, like if you guys were watching, I don't know when some of you guys, but January wasn't a great month for me. So for me, playing with people that are making me laugh and having good spirits, being around is very important to my mental health. So I thought, what better way than to play a game that they're playing, and I think of it just like playing cards, right? Like poker night on Thursdays. The poker itself isn't the activity that people are there for. The real main meat is the bros all showing up on Thursday and just us bullshitting and talking and having a great time. Like that's, the cards are just a facilitator. Like WoW Season Discovery is just the facilitator. Let me see. I don't know it outside content, but will be as hard as it will be strategic. You're going to have scouts watch on the back door if you're going to be doing outside boss. Yeah, I think there's going to be stuff in Ashes where there's going to be a lot of things that you'd want to like look out for, make sure that there's not guilds like approaching big, groups and stuff like that. But I think again, like the natural battlegrounds that are going to happen outside of dungeons or inside dungeons or outside certain like POIs, which are points of interest, I think are going to be very interesting, because you can only imagine, you as a solo player going up a ridge and you just see like 40 players just all like attacking each other. You're like, what the fuck is going on? You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like that was such the cool thing, if you're on a PvP server in WoW, in classic WoW, because like I said, I'm in, Hillsbred Foothills, and there is a lot of PvP action in Hillsbred. Terran Mill, South Shore, a lot of PvP action there. So you just never know sometimes when there's like a whole group of people just fighting each other. It just feels awesome. Let me see. Yeah, retail used to be all about stealing features from other games and making them better. That's gone. It's a soul crushing game now. Yeah, it is. It is very much a soul crushing game. And for me, the more I try to talk and to change and to like give feedback on, just maybe even more mad, because you're not listening. Like they're not listening. And they could say all day that, oh yeah, in Dragonflight they listened. Well, it's still the same. In my eyes, it's still the same content. Like, and again, this is why World of Warcraft retail is not for me anymore. The game is not being built for me. So why am I trying to change something that isn't meant for me? Like, I need to go somewhere else. And guess what? Ashes seems like a pretty good game for me, Armored Monkey, dude, what's going on? Happy Wednesday to you. When they told me you were playing WoW, my response was, feels bad to wave the drugs in front of the recovering. Yeah, I know. But it is actually like WoW in itself. Like retail, just, oh my God. But classic, it's not so bad. It really isn't. And again, like I just like being around the guild. Like I just like being around friends and stuff like that. I think it's very good for my mental state to be around people. Absolutely nothing worse than getting a dragon to 5% and getting surprised butt sex and legacy. Yeah. I mean, who likes that? I almost invested in Blizzard back in 2005, but morally felt like I shouldn't. It was like investing in crack cocaine. Dude, I would have. Dude, you could have been raking in it if you would have invested back in 2005. Well, actually, you couldn't have invested in 2005. They didn't go publicly traded until 2009 or 2010. They were still privately owned at that time. It was mid 2000s. No, because Activision didn't buy Blizzard until 2009 or 2008. It was like, because I remember this was literally during Wrath of the Lich King when Activision bought out Blizzard and they went publicly traded. I'm trying to enjoy SOD, but man, it is impossible to find tanks and healers for dungeons. Really? You can, like, mages are healers, and like there's like 4 tanks. There's like rogues can be tanks, shamans can be tanks, warriors are tanks, paladins are, like, how is it hard? Like, that's crazy. And if it's this bad the first week, it's not going to get any better. Well, Armored Monkey, I would tell you to find a guild. And right now, there are other guilds probably playing SOD. But if you're not in a guild right now, you can join Wizzy and Nemesis at the guild Suspect, because Suspect actually has a consistent SOD group that runs all of that content. I remember the Mr. T commercial for early WoW, but I had a life then, and only games I was playing was PC, Madden, and Civilization 3 or 4. I wasn't even an MMO player then. Yeah, I was playing WoW in 2006. I definitely remember those commercials. They were freaking awesome. But yeah, my very first MMO was Final Fantasy 11. My God, the torture I experienced in that game. It almost turned me off to MMOs entirely, to be honest with you. Are they on Living Flame? No. They are on Lone Wolf. Uh, we are all old as we are talking about MMOs. Oh, dude, yeah. Hey, Suspect shout out. I love it. Well, hey, like I don't know if Axiom is playing SOD. I haven't seen anybody on SOD, to be honest with you. And I think if there are people playing SOD in Axiom, it's not in a way that, you know, you're going to be able to find raids and stuff like that. So it's like, I mean, yes, I mean, if you want to join Ashes, I would definitely say, hey, join Axiom, and we have a great group of people for Ashes. But if you want to have a group of people to play with for SOD, I know Suspect is playing SOD right now, and they have a lot of people playing. So, yeah, you're in Axiom. Okay, great. I was like, well, if you want to jump into the Suspect Discord, you can just say that you're a friend of Axiom and just say Vladis sent you, and that you're definitely not a spy, and they'll definitely take you. Okay, that's my suggestion. ATVI shows stocks back in 2001. I never went back far enough into that. I actually invested. I just looked at the stock back then and decided against it. I'm not sure if it was publicly traded or not. Well, because I know there was probably stocks they could have got. I just didn't think that they were like publicly available. Like I always thought with privately traded companies, you can get in stock, but you had to work for them. But either way, like, dude, if you had access to it, I would have taken it. That's all I'm saying. He has to pay an entrance fee if he wants to talk in the Discord. Ah, okay. Well, Armored, I'm sure they could probably work something out. You see, I will create a guild and call it Theorem and challenge you to a guild war. Oh my god. That's so crazy. Okay. All right, guys. Well, I really appreciate you guys showing up and supporting your boy. If you guys like me doing these random streams, you know, hit the follow button on Twitch. You can always stay up to date. If you're on YouTube watching me, you can always subscribe to my content on here. I go live randomly like this just because reasons, you know. But usually my main days, or my main day for streaming AoC content, is on Fridays. Fridays at 7 p.m. Central. So if you guys don't want to miss out on me streaming or whatever, hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button. You know, I guarantee you won't miss out. Guys, I really appreciate you guys showing up, supporting. You guys are amazing. In a South Korean accent fighting. I can't do a South Korean accent. I'm sorry, bro. But guys, I just want to appreciate every single one of you guys for showing up on this random Wednesday. You guys stay lovely, stay awesome, and I will see you guys on the next one. Later, guys. Oh, guys, before you go, would you guys like to see something? So, some of you guys may know that I created a trailer for Ashes of Creation. I created a trailer that I thought was pretty well. Like I you know, hidden dagger, and if you have not subscribed to my OnlyFans, like I'm totally kidding. I do not have an OnlyFans. I started creating a second trailer for Ashes of Creation. I am very much, it's still a work in progress. It's still super early. But would you guys like to see like a little bit of a preview? Or would you like to see like a little taste of like what it's going to come up to? Okay. Let me see. Let me see. All right. Let me see. All right. Oh God. This is like a soup. Okay. let me preface the way Steven prefaces. This is literally, it's not done at all. It's literally like I have like a minute and something done, but it'll give you a little bit of taste of the music. So all right. All right, that's all I got so far. That's the end of the trailer. I still have more footage to sniff through and stuff like that, but it's a little bit of the. It's not the whole trailer music either. It's actually I took me forever to find the music that I thought would follow up from the first trailer, and this song song is so good. It hasn't even crescendoed yet to like the climax of it, so it's really good. Guys, love you guys so much. I hope you enjoyed the little teaser of the trailer. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.